Always a pleasure to welcome on my next guest on the show. Massive fight coming up on April the 22nd in Nashville, Tennessee at UFC Fight Night 108. He goes up against Mr. Cub Swanson in a vital featherweight clash there in the United States of America. It is the Russian Hammer, Mr. Artem Lobov. Artem, first of all, great to have you on, man, as always. How are you keeping?
I'm good now. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Artem, what's been going on? I know you've a day off today. You've been tough at the grinding away. How's everything with training and etc. gone into this fight?
Yeah, I've been working hard, for a long time now. Obviously, I look to fight soon, a lot sooner than end of April. So I've been training nonstop. So I've been ready to go for a long time now, and just continuing with that training. Just sort of tailoring it towards the fight now. Obviously, it's going to be my first 5-rounder, so had to make some adjustments there in the cardio preparation and my approach to the fight as well. But it's all good now.
What are the major adjustments for a 5-round? Because I know you're a guy. You obviously over your years with Conor, you go 10, 15 rounds, preparing him for fights and yourself. Has there been a major cardio adjustment?
Well, to be honest, I mean, not major really, because even training for 3 rounds, when you fight 3 and you're fit, you can probably go 5, no problem, just as well. So your body can only go to a certain limit. It's not that you say, oh well, I'm fighting 5 rounds, so I'm gonna bring it because get the cardio twice as good as before. You can't just do that. There's limits to it. So yeah, but certainly some adjustments. Just kind of keeping in mind that it is 5 rounds now.
Does that excite you that it is 5 rounds? Instead of 3.
Yeah.
If we look at
definitely.
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think all fights should be 5 rounds. 3 rounds is too short. It's too easy to let the fight slip. And how often we see this, where a guy won 2 rounds, but then he's clearly losing in the 3rd round, and then you kind of sort of ask yourself, what if there was another round? He probably wouldn't make it. So if you have 5 rounds, I think that just you have to really win the fight. You can't really just steal it.
Yeah, I definitely, I've always said that I wish the UFC would do, more even co-main events, 5 rounds, because there's obviously a lot of fights that we'd like to see, go 4 or 5 rounds that are on the code that aren't necessarily main events. But I want to talk to you about your last fight. It was a super impressive performance, probably against the toughest guy you fought in the UFC so far. You didn't go out the usual. You still try to land, obviously, the big shots, but there was a lot more, I think, calculated approach from Artem Lobov last time out. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it is. But obviously, even though I had won the previous fight before that, I still kind of felt that my place in the UFC wasn't as secure at the time, and also that was my kind of fight to prove myself that I can hang with these guys and I'm ready for the next step up. So that's why I had to approach it a little bit cautiously, and just make sure I get the win and move on to the next one. But now I'm in a different spot, obviously main event and, against the number 4 guy in the UFC. So, I'm going all out here, I'm holding nothing back this time.
Does it excite you even more that you're main
event?
Yeah,
100%. That's how I always want to fight, but just sometimes you realize that fighting like that can kind of, sometimes, you can get carried away and end up losing the fight. But again, this kind of style, you can just go all for it in a 5-rounder, because like I said, it's a lot harder to just steal the fight, just land a takedown here and there and hold the guy down. It's not really going to work in the 5-rounder,
All you seem to think when I look at you fighting, especially it goes on to your last fight. I think when you're fighting maybe a better opponent, you perform better. Would that be fair to say? Is that from working with Conor over the years? Maybe working with the top guy in the division.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that, I expect too much, from these guys because, when I'm sparring Conor on a daily basis. Yeah, definitely, probably, a lot to do with that.
What's your thoughts on Cub as a person? I know back in the day he was very vocal towards all the SBG guys when Conor first came along the scene. What's your thoughts on him as a person?
To be honest, I don't really, heard much of him, to even talk about him as a person. I've seen his fights, obviously, a lot of his fights over the years, but you can't really judge what sort of person you are by a fight. Although you can obviously tell a lot of things about a person from their fight. He always brings it. He's always ready to fight. he never really tries to hold the guy down. He is an entertainer, So I think it's going to be a good fight.
Did you obviously? I presume you obviously watched his last fight against Hu Choi, one of the best fights of the year so far. When you look at a fight like that and the way you fight, obviously, I think this fight is fireworks written all over. Did you see a lot of holes where you could punish him in that fight?
100%. I definitely did, and I mean this fight that you speak of. That's exactly how this fight happened. I saw that fight and I was like, wow, I love to be involved in something like that. But Halls, yeah, he was getting hit, loads by the Korean Superboy, and if it's me, dishing out them big shots, he won't be able to take them.
Are you the hardest hitter in the featherweight division now that
I
Conor's out
think
there?
so, honestly. I think so. I mean, who else is there? Like who else has power in their hands in the division? No one really, I mean,
Yeah.
like who else is there? No one. Mendes had a bit of power though, but he is gone now. He's on a break. He's on a
He
break
is.
now.
I want to get your thoughts.
Now when he comes back now, he's going to be a big fat mess
Yeah.
because he can't be on the juice no more. He
Yeah.
got caught, so he's going to be a big fat mess when he comes back.
Is that something you'd like to do in the future? Chad Mendes?
Yeah,
That'd be a
probably
good
have to be at welterweight though.
Yeah, probably. He's looking a bit bigger than he normally does.
Yeah, that's what he does. He just rolls around the streets now. He's the same size, the same shape, no matter which way you turn him.
Brilliant stuff. Artem, you're a guy, and I know you criticised Tyron Woodley recently, and I've been along the same lines. I think some of the stuff Tyron was coming out saying was a bit, out of left field. I want to get your thoughts on, you're a guy who how to play the fight game now, how to get yourself promoted. I think you've done it very well. You've always been very honest about your career, what you've done. Do you feel that way that the haters? Obviously there was a bit of criticism about you getting main event slot. What would your message be to them?
My message to them would be, if haters, whatever. I love the haters. There's nothing more motivating in the morning than seeing somebody doubt you. And posting all those comments. It's so motivating, and there's nothing better feeling. There's no better feeling in the world than shoving it down their throat, like, and making them eat their own words, like. So it is very motivating for me. But to me, if you're a hater, I say, at least be a nice hater. Click that like button. And hey, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. He doesn't give a shit. You're dead right, Artem. I completely agree. It's the only way to brush these people off. Okay, right. Do you see this fight and you look at Cub, obviously a guy who's been around the block quite a lot. With the win, you've obviously thought about winning this. You've a little plan, I think, in mind. You don't think Jose Aldo is going to show up to face Max Holloway at UFC 212. Obviously not looking too far ahead, but that's what you're envisaging. And you're a guy who's made a lot of predictions, let's be honest, in the last couple of years.
And look, everybody, I feel that if you're in the UFC, your goal should be getting that belt.
Yeah.
You should be looking to get that belt. If that's not in your plan, if that's not what you dream of becoming a champion, then you're wasting your time. If you're just thinking, well, I'll just get into the UFC, I know I'm not going to win that belt, but I'll just make, a few bob, and that's it. That's not the right attitude. You have to be there and you have to want to be the best. Whether you will be or not doesn't matter. But that should be your attitude. That should be your mindset.
And you make comments about Jose as well.
Yeah, and about Jose again. Like I'm not hating on the guy or anything. I'm just speaking from experience. I'm speaking from stats. You know what I mean? Statistically speaking, he is due a pullout. Because that's what he always is done. He pulled out every second fight. And now he already had 2 fights in a row where he didn't pull out. So the odds of him pulling out are very high at the moment.
Yeah, especially on American
That's
soil.
the only reason why I said that.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I said that. And I know that, if he did pull out, I was there available, let's say, after beating Cub. Who else would go answer that call on 2 weeks' notice?
Yeah.
Who else would fly to Brazil and make weight? And that's it, like.
Definitely, no, I agree. But is that something that you're going to be looking forward to? Is obviously getting the win over Cub. Is that something you realistically, once you get that win, you're gonna maybe keep your phone obviously close to your hand, and do you actually anticipate that happening?
Well, I don't give a fuck. I just kind of put it out there as a thought. I just like, geez, what if Aldo pulls out? Just kind of thinking out loud, sort of. But I don't give a fuck. I beat Cub and that's it. I'll be looking forward to my next challenge. It doesn't matter to me how many I have to fight. I love fighting anyway. I love fighting every weekend, and I would do that if I could. Like, so it doesn't matter to me. I'll just be ready to fight. I'll just stay in shape, stay ready, stay waiting for that phone call, and that's it.
Are we seeing an Artem Lobov coming into the prime of his career? I thought your last fight against Izzyar was the best of your career. I'm expecting this to be an absolutely fantastic fight for the fans. Have you reached your prime yet, do you feel?
I feel I'm still developing, because even though I've had a lot of fights, I haven't been doing this that long. So I'm still very young in my MMA years. So I'm developing all the time. I'm seeing huge jumps. So I don't know what the limit is.
With obviously Conor's, fame and, he's a lot of obviously media commitments and things like that days. He's a baby on the way. Obviously, he was a guy you spar quite a lot with in the past. I know you've been working a lot with Richie Smullen and Peter Queally ahead of this one, and Dylan Dennis. You worked a lot in your last fight. Who's been the main people? Have you had as much time with Conor that you would have liked maybe in the lead up to this fight?
Yeah, definitely. Me and Conor were at the start of the camp. We were doing a lot of boxing sparring. And still now, like, just did a boxing class with him the other day, just working on technique and movement and, certain shots, so yeah, definitely, everyone is involved as always, like you mentioned again, Richard Small and Peter Queally, all the guys, Dylan Chuk, they're all helping, everyone helps. In SBG, you don't have to worry about, who you're going to train with, everybody's ready to train, so that's good to see now.
Artem, I think you're the real mystic man with the predictions you've made over the last couple of years. How's this fight going to go down? What are you predicting?
Yeah, it's it. I honestly, I just see myself catching him. Like, he's just so open. He throws them wild shots, which I love. But I will catch him. And when I catch him, that's it. He won't get up. So it's going to be. I'm going to sleep him. I'll sleep him.
I can't wait for it. It's going to be a cracking fight.
I just hope they wake him up. I just hope they're able to wake him up after it. That's all I hope for now. Honestly, I don't know. Bring an alarm.
Bring an alarm.
Wake up, Cub.
Artem, are you going to stay around? And I know you're a big man for the dancing and the country music. Are you going to hang around in Nashville for a few days after?
Oh, 100%. Sure, I'll show them. You know what I mean? Elvis is back. I'll show them how it's done. Just give me some of that fine Tennessee whiskey, bit of Jack, and I'm ready to go.
Brilliant stuff. Artem, always a pleasure, my friend. Do appreciate the time. I'm looking forward to that fight. It's going to be an absolute barn burner. Always a pleasure, buddy.
Right, Frano. See you later, bud.
Cheers, Artem.